one of the problems with the universities today is exactly that we are kind of cut off from the world a little bit. Like, it is kind of a bubble. It is, you are kind of in your own part of the society, and then you get to be there for the 5 or 6 or how many years you are at the university before you go out and meet the world. And we don't really like take the issues that exist out there into the work we are doing in the universities. I think this is different, of course, for different disciplines. I'm studying literature right now, and I do feel like that's a very academic study, which is a little bit cut off from everything else. I also think that a problem with universities sometimes can be that the focus is on prestige and how much scientific articles you publish. That's how you get like university ratings, and sometimes that takes the focus away from the actual education, the young people that's there and that's going to like go out and actually make this change in society. Because what's important isn't what students you produce or what you learn them, but what kind of scientific accomplishments you have. And that is, of course, important, but I do think that it sometimes affects the teaching in the universities. I myself experienced this, especially when I studied psychology, and there wasn't always I don't think like the teaching, there wasn't always so much thought into it. It was this random PhD students and professor that came in and that had to spend this and this much time teaching, instead of having people that's actually there to teach and to be with the students. So that is, I think, some of the things that I've thought about that I wish were a bit different in the university. I also think something that I would like to maybe see more of is the interdisciplinarity. And I think that is partly growing, but it's still a big division between different departments in the university. You are in very different worlds. I've noticed this especially since I've been studying in different disciplines, and I've seen that you can be a bit isolated from what everybody else is doing. But what we kind of need is to like use all these different ways together. Like we have to come together and see solutions to the big problems that we're seeing from different perspectives. But instead we have and we do, students do this from different perspectives, but they should, I think, be working more together and get new impulses from each other. And a part of that, I've also worked a little bit with student innovation and entrepreneurship, which is a student-driven organization that I've been working in. And I do think that the universities isn't giving this a lot of attention. They want innovations at the universities, but they don't really make room for the student to be innovative. And innovation is connected to these specific areas like technology and economics, because somehow there's an idea that this is where we need innovation and this is where innovation happens. And I think that's a big problem. Like, we need to actually draw on so many more resources, and there's so many more areas that we need to find new solutions, and we need more perspectives. But that's not, when we went out to different faculties talking about innovation when I was at my university, a lot of students don't really see that as their area at all. If you're in the humanities or in education, it's like, no, I'm studying something completely different, so innovation isn't for me. And I think that's something that you get from the university, because it's not, the university doesn't make it possible or show people that that's an option. So you think that you're kind of educated into taking this particular role. Like if you study education, you're supposed to become a teacher. But I think we should open up kind of to more possibilities. And also in that same, I think that you should, not quite sure how you would do that, but I do think that the universities need to work on connecting to the real world more. And to some studies that would be a lot more like actually going out and working while you are in your study. We don't have a lot of that, at least in Oslo. That's more like the professional studies, but in other studies you don't really do that, which I think you definitely should do. But maybe also to take the problems that we're actually facing today more actively into the universities and have, I don't know, maybe you could have like cross-disciplinary work groups where students come together and discuss the problems we are facing from different perspectives, which is something that I think students sometimes try to organize themselves, but maybe that could be more organized from the university. Yeah, I think that's right now, that's kind of what I thought of, I think. Yeah. I think the universities sometimes want to keep up kind of their status or their place in the world, as there is some elitism about it that I think is kind of, I mean, maybe inevitable, but still, I do think it still like keeps up this way of thinking and not quite being able to connect always to the real life problems, and making this distinction between the university and the societies and the society. I'm not there's a lot of tradition there about what the university is and what the higher education should be, a lot of prestige, and sort of, I guess, also keeping up both like an image and sticking to a tradition that makes it sometimes difficult for the universities to meet change, I think, and to redefine what its place in society should be. And that should be difficult, I think, because the tradition and the knowledge in the universities is important. So we don't want to toss that away, but still we should also reflect in the education about what and how can we use this, how is this important, and what kind of role should this knowledge have in our society, and how can we use it and the challenges that we're meeting. That's a perspective that's sometimes a bit lacking, I think. Yeah.